Happy Friday, fellow Texans. It's the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Yes, crank it up. It's Friday. Your weekend starts in 2 hours and 54 minutes. I'll try and keep you entertained between now and then. And there's going to be a running theme in today's episode. And the running theme between several of the stories is going to be, okay, stop talking, start arresting people. Either start arresting people or shut up, really. And I'm not trying to be like gruff or abrasive to start the show here. I mean, it's a Friday. I'm in a good mood. I woke up on the right side of bed. Actually, I did the opposite thing that you normally do, where you wake up and you're like, is it Friday? And then you find out it's only Wednesday and you feel like in the dumps. Today I woke up and for, I don't know, about 8 minutes or so, felt like it was Thursday. And then I looked up and it was Friday. And I was like, wait a second. It's like I skipped the whole day. You know how much better that feels? And then I can take it all the way because in my top story here, I agree with someone that I have previously said on the James Show is the dumbest member of Congress. Uh-oh. That's not a good feeling to have. What's going on here? Yeah, so dumbest member of Congress, if you're not familiar, Hank Johnson, easily. We all agree with that, right? The guy that thought Guam could tip over, because if you put too much.
Yeah, my fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
Which, I mean, guys, we make fun of people for not being the smartest out there, but he thinks islands are just out there floating like a Yeti cooler, could tip over if we put too much Coast Guard installation on the edge of Guam. So that guy, I agree with him. We need to see the Epstein list. And I also, I just enjoy his song. I need your help. He wrote a song that's an Epstein song. Now, when he wrote the previous song that he played, he's got an acoustic guitar and Hank Johnson singing into the camera. He was doing a revision of Hey Joe, the Jimi Hendrix song. Instead of Hey Joe, where are you going with that gun in your hand? It's Hey Trump, where are you? Something about the big beautiful bill. I don't even remember. But this one's about the Epstein song. What song is he covering here? Because I can't discern. I can't tell what's the original song that he's trying to cover in his Epstein remake.
Epstein died by suicide. Believe that and you must be blind. You've been telling us you released the file, but where are they? We've gone along with what's been told. We've had plenty of time. You're in control, but now you say you will withhold the Epstein file. Dreamsicle on a summer night in a folding armchair.
Dreamsicle.
Trump's howling at the moon. Release the Epstein file soon.
What the hell song is that? I can't even tell. Dreamsicle? Where did that come from? Does anybody know the original song, though? Because I played it for Bruce. He didn't know either. Garrett doesn't know anything about pop culture before like 2000, so he's useless. I mean that in a nicer way than it sounded, Garrett. But do you know what's the original song that he's covering there? Because none of us knew. We recognized the other one, Hey Trump, where are you going with it? Because look at how easy his first song was.
I'm compelled with a new guitar and with some thoughts about that.
Let me scoot up.
Where you going with that gun in your hand?
See, that's the easy one, right? But I don't know about the Epstein song. And he's singing way high up there, too.
Epstein died by suicide. Believe that and you must be blind. You've been telling us you released the file, but where are they?
All right, the reason why we're excited about this, and we're not just bringing this up out of nowhere, yesterday, some people from the Trump administration went and visited Ghislaine Maxwell in prison in Florida. Now, Ghislaine was the girlfriend. That's a weird title for her, but she was also involved in the recruiting. She's in jail now for human trafficking to no one, I guess. But and I'll go ahead and give you the epilogue to this. There's a second meeting that's happening right now as you and I speak on the James Show. But this was the report yesterday. It seemed like it went well, and she's talking. This is from Fox News last night.
Also breaking tonight, a top Justice Department official met today with former Epstein confidant Ghislaine Maxwell. The session happened in a Florida prison where Maxwell is serving a sentence for conspiring with Epstein to sexually abuse minors. Correspondent David Spunt has details tonight. Good evening, Dave.
Brett, good evening. Ghislaine Maxwell's attorneys praised Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the Justice Department for meeting with her in person today, not far from that prison at a federal courthouse in Tallahassee. Now, the courthouse was just miles from where Ghislaine Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence behind bars. The discussion lasted for several hours, and while the DOJ is not commenting on what was said, Maxwell's attorney gave us some details.
He took a full day and asked a lot of questions, and Ms. Maxwell answered every single question. She never stopped, she never invoked a privilege, she never declined to answer. She answered all the questions truthfully, honestly, and to the best of her ability.
But Brett, legal experts question whether Maxwell told her version of the truth or the actual truth.
I think the reason you send someone like Blanche instead of an assistant U.S. attorney is because you want to show Maxwell that the government is serious about making some kind of deal. Maxwell's not going to say a single word. She has no incentive to say a single word unless she gets some kind of benefit.
And tonight we're awaiting decisions from 2 federal judges in New York who will decide if they will release grand jury transcripts from investigations involving both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's cases there. Epstein died in prison in 2019 before ever going to trial on sex trafficking. Yesterday, a Florida judge indicated she would not release the grand jury material in Epstein's solicitation of a minor case in Florida back in 2008. That judge says her hands are tied, as anything to do with a grand jury in the American court system, Brett, typically, as we know, kept close and secretive.
All right. Thank you to Brett Baer and David Spunt for that reporting. Coming up next on The James Show, Trump was asked about it this morning. You're going to hear him naming names on the Epstein list. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey there. Happy Friday, fellow Texans. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, as far as the Epstein story goes, look, stop talking, start arresting. And I understand that there's some sort of procedures out there for due process where you got to file a piece of paper, you got to run this by a lawyer, but it's taking too long. You know, you've now been in office this week, marks 6 months. No handcuffs have been thrown around. What are we doing? So there's and until we get full transparency on this story, there's some huge questions that are going to remain unanswered. Because underneath the big umbrella of, will we ever seen the Epstein list, we got to have answers to what's the holdup. Because now there's not just what's on the Epstein list, what was going on that island. Now it's also what are the machinations happening behind the curtain in D.C. right now that is slowing this progress? What's going on there? Is Trump on it? How much is he on it? Was he just on for a little narrow window of 4 years where he went back and forth from Palm Beach to New York? Because that didn't sound very suspicious. Did he ever go to the island? Will Ghislaine talk? She's in her second day of talks right now with the prosecutors, but I'm kind of skeptical that she would be saying anything without some sort of deal being worked out. And then there's huge questions that seem maybe not probable, but I guess possible. Like, is the CIA involved in some sort of blackmail op where they get dirt on all these world leaders and then use it against them? They get dirt on major market CEOs and other people of influence, actors, musicians, whatever else. And, you know, there's this crazy, again, possible, but not probable idea that we may see a former president go to prison. We've never seen that before. 800-288-9227. Do you even think we'll see it at all? This is Joshua and Keller. You're on WBAP.
Hey, how's it going? I was talking about Jason Isbell and the 400 unit on that Dreamsicle song.
Oh, you know that song? Because I didn't recognize that. What is that?
Yeah, it's from the pandemic era type song, but they used to be the drive-by truckers before they formed the 400 unit, and it's called after a mental asylum in Alabama. The song's about his rough childhood growing up with his parents divorcing, and when he was young and how he found, comfort in the Dreamsicle, and that was like the one thing for it. So it's very strange that he would use that song.
Joshua, your knowledge here is invaluable. You said the name of the band is the 400 unit. What's the name of the song?
So it's actually John Isbell, Isbell, and the 400 unit is his backup band. And the song is actually called Dreamsicle.
Dreamsicle. And it came out around the time of the pandemic?
Yeah, I want to say it was 2020 or so when it came out.
Well, Drive-By Truckers, isn't that like
2007?
Isn't that like Americana, almost country music, Drive-By Truckers? Am I thinking of the right guys?
They could be. I don't listen to the music. I only know this because of my children.
Well, that makes Hank Johnson sound kind of cool. He's listening to alt rock, like new music, Americana or whatever. All right,
the kids get to listen to what they want on road trips, and you learn strange things.
Well, he's also some guy in his 70s that think islands are just floating out there like an inner tube.
This is true.
Well, Joshua, thank you so much for that information, man. I appreciate you calling in because that was bothering me. I didn't know what the original song was. Now I want to look it up. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, certainly. And real quick on a president going to jail, a lot of people are saying Obama's got immunity, but what they're forgetting is a lot of the things he did are after he wasn't president no more. So I'm not sure immunity is going to cover everything for him.
Well, see, some people have that in mind. I was thinking about President Clinton going to jail for the repeated trips to Epstein Island because one of the clips I'm about to play here from Trump says he went to the island X amount of times, which seems kind of a lot if you're just interested in fishing. But thank you very much, Joshua. Do you think we'll ever see the list?
I don't.
Yeah, well,
I don't think the list exists.
I totally understand your skepticism, sir. Thank you very much, Joshua. All right, now let's get to what Donald Trump said. He was asked, standing in front of a helicopter that's just loud as all get out. Sorry about that. He was asked a few questions. Here's two about the Ghislaine Maxwell meeting that was happening yesterday and today.
What are you hoping Todd Blanche gets out of his meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell?
Well, I don't know about the meeting. I know it's taking place, and
He's a fantastic man. He's a great attorney. And people should really focus on how well the country's doing, or they should focus on the fact that Barack Hussein Obama led a coup, or they should focus on the fact that Larry Summers from Harvard, that Bill Clinton, who you know very well, and lots of other friends, really close friends of Jeffrey Summers, should be spoken about. Because, you know, Jeffrey Epstein should be spoken about. And they should speak about them, because they don't talk about them. They talk about me. I have nothing to do with the guy.
All right, so he names some names there. Larry Summers from Harvard, Bill Clinton. And then he sort of expands the list. There's another question that's asked about it. And so he kind of goes back in there, and then he just throws in like hedge fund CEOs. And every time he says something like this, I want to just write it down and make a list and make sure all these people like have a microphone put in front of them and are asked about it. But listen to this one.
Well, I don't want to talk about that. What I do want to say is that Todd is a great attorney, but you ought to be speaking about Larry Summers. You ought to be speaking about some of his friends that are hedge fund guys. They're all over the place. You ought to be speaking about Bill Clinton, who went to the island 28 times.
28?
I never went to the island.
Do you maintain you did not write a letter for Jeffrey Epstein's birthday?
I don't even know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could have written a letter and used my name, but that's happened a lot. All you have to do is take a look at the dossier, the fake dossier. Everything's fake with that administration. Everything's fake with the Democrats. Take a look at what they just found about the dossier. Everything is fake. They're a bunch of sick people.
Wow. Okay. So I think that's news to me. Bill Clinton went to the island 28 times. Is that verified? Because if he's making that up, I'm sure that's going to get thrown back in his face, and I would have seen it already. But he's throwing out Larry Summers. He's throwing out hedge fund managers. Excuse me, which ones? Who are we talking about here? How do you know that? So I find that I don't want to say I find it exciting, but I think it's going to come out. I'm so skeptical. I'm so cynical. We've had this waved in front of our face for so long. I mean, the guy killed himself now 6 years ago. And so it's almost, it feels like Charlie Brown with Lucy and the football, but I hope we see it. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Then again, if Hank Johnson thinks we're going to see it, you know how his level of mental acuity kind of makes me question my stance on this. Where are you? 800-288-9227. The other thing that could send someone to jail, even a former president to jail, is the new information about the Russia collusion hoax. I'll get you caught up on that next. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, homeowners, James Parker here for Blue Ribbon Roofing. And if you need to get your roof checked out, the inspection is free. I know, I did it myself. If you're like, well, I don't just trust some random dude I hear on the radio, fine. Why don't you go trust hundreds of your neighbors in North Texas? Not only did they get a good experience, they were so positive about experience that they went and wrote a 5-star review on Google. How many times do you do that? How many services do you use today that you're so happy about it? You're like, I got to go tell Google about this. That's how good they do. Here's an example from just last month. Terry says, I had my roof installed yesterday. It was such a great experience. The crew was here early and they were on the roof immediately. They got the job done with no hiccups. By the time I was leaving mid-afternoon, all traces of them being at my home were gone. No debris, no nails, absolutely nothing. I'm confident that going with Blue Ribbon for my new roof was the right decision. They have gained a lifetime customer. And then, boom, 5-star review. I want to read your review in 2 weeks. Go get your roof inspected if you need some help getting it fixed or getting help with the insurance. They can take care of all that. Been doing it for 31 years. It's a family company you can trust. Go to blueribbondfw.com. Schedule your free inspection today. blueribbondfw.com. Well, hey there. Happy Friday, fellow Texans. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. And our top two stories of the day, they both have the same theme in my book. Stop talking, start arresting. The Epstein list keeps getting teased and waved in front of your face. And then we have Ghislaine Maxwell, who had an interview with some officials from the Department of Justice, whatever that means. They're meeting again, supposedly right now. As of the start of the show, it was reported that she was still in talks with him. So unless she just stopped in the last 30 minutes, they may be talking right now. She may be spilling the clients' names right now. And then the other big story is the Russiagate hoax. Now, I hope most people understand that this isn't an old story. I mean, it's an old story in the fact that it's from previous years. But I want you to access your memory banks. And remember that for the years 2017, 2018, and 2019, this was the number one story in the news. It had a plurality of the news coverage for 3 years in a row. And plurality, I mean, not a majority, but no other story was reported more than that. If not for COVID, it would have been for all 4 years of the Donald Trump first term. Because they were still trying to run with it, and then COVID took it over in that last year. This was the biggest story, and it turns out it was all false. It turns out all of these headlines, they were wrong on. Oops. This whole narrative that was just meant specifically to drum up hatred against Donald Trump is all just fan fiction. It's fantasy. So you have these people who have just been trained to hate this guy so much, and it's all based on lies. Do they go back and unhate the guy? Nope, damage is already done. But I'm done talking about it. Let's send some people to jail who fudged the FISA warrants? Whose idea was this? Who perpetrated it knowing it was fake? Who knew it was fake when and why? And then they kept doing it. Well, we've gotten some of these answers, but no one's going to jail for the Epstein list or Russiagate. 800-288-9227. This is Jerry and Tyler. You're on WBAP.
Hey, James. My question is this. Everyone who wants to see this quote-unquote client list, what do they think that's on that list? I mean, this guy probably knew a lot of people who did business with, people who may have even partied with him. That doesn't mean that everyone on that list did something nefarious or illegal. And if your name's on that list, whether you did or not, your reputation is going to be ruined. So I don't blame them for not just putting a list out there. I mean, do they expect a check to be beside the guys that
participated in the
did this weird stuff?
Well, do you think at any time there was underage sex on that island?
Well, that doesn't mean that everyone that's on that client.
Oh no,
list
I agree. I agree.
underage sex.
Listen, I'm not a hardliner on this one. The thing is, whether or not they flew down there, we still have other pieces of evidence. We still have the testimony of these girls in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. We still have the testimony from the grand jury trial for Jeffrey Epstein, even though that's typically locked behind closed doors. Someone knows that information. Someone knows that there were other people who went and participated in these nefarious underage statutory rape, if not forcible rape activities. And it'd be nice to see these people held to account.
Well, no, I agree with you completely. I doubt very seriously I'm sure there's a list of a lot of people, clientele, business associates, maybe people who even went to the island and partied, but that doesn't mean that their reputation should be ruined if they did nothing wrong. So that's what I'm saying about,
yeah.
I think the list is a pretty broad generality, and hopefully this Maxwell woman will help clear some of this up. But I imagine DOJ does have a list, but they don't want to put it out there and just ruin a bunch of reputations of people who,
well, listen,
people just assume did something wrong.
Right. It's Jerry. Now, far be it from me to overestimate the common sense of the American people. But I think that's just the danger you have to accept with transparency is I hope the American people understand that not everyone who flew on a Jeffrey Epstein plane necessarily participated in those activities, and maybe not everyone who went to that island did. In fact, maybe most of the people who went there, but some of them did. And if they did, I want it to be known, and I want these people to go under. I don't care who it hurts. I don't care who they're related to or who they're friends with. And that doesn't come from a place of envy, like, oh, we got to eat the rich. It comes from a place where children got raped. So I just Wouldn't it be nice to have a little bit of justice for them?
And I agree with you. And if there's a list of a check beside the people that did those things, put it out there. But I doubt very seriously if there's a list of that. And that's probably the
Understood.
problem that there's not. It's just a list of associates.
I think we got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, James.
This is James in Mesquite. You're on WBAP.
Oh, yes, sir. The list, I agree with the list. You know, there's not going to be a check mark. We might not get something from that list, but wasn't there tons and tons of video cameras found in his apartment? Isn't there video evidence? Why are we going after that and looking for that and having that information released?
In fact, that was referred by Pam Bondi earlier this year. There's thousands of hours of footage of these horrific acts. Well, was she lying? Was she misled? Did something change her mind about that? So, yeah, I think we can go through some of these tapes here. I don't want to be the dude that does it, but someone's gone through them already. It's been someone's job. They had prepared a case against this guy, and they had already got past the grand jury phase. So there's information out there that's in that case docket. And so, maybe he didn't have like a list where it's just like a sketch pad on the wall and he has just names listed out. But we have the collection of information where if there were other people that were participating in Underage Rape Island, those people can be named and we can do what we can to minimize the negative impact on people who weren't participating in that specific activity, even if they were rolled up with the pretty ugly guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we can do both. I think we can do both.
Do both.
All right. Well, James, you and I agree that we can do both. Will we? Will we ever see that dumb list?
No.
Dang. All right.
We're not going to see it, but yeah.
Well, I appreciate you answering the question forthrightly. That's James in Mesquite. Coming up next on the James Show, speaking of Russiagate, how's the actual war with Russia going? Dr. Brodeur from Rigaku will tell you next. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM, WBAP. Happy Friday. How you doing? Stick around. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up in the show. We got to play Name That Artist in the last half hour of the show. We have an episode of What the Heck Did Jasmine Crockett Say This Time? All kinds of good stuff. So leave it right here. But if you can't, totally understandable. Just be sure to come back, check out the parts you missed on the podcast, WBAP.com, WBAP app. Now, one of the people who is getting a spotlight put on him in this whole Russiagate situation has to be James Comey. James Comey is a guy who, I don't know if you've noticed, he's one of the people who's gotten away with some of the biggest scandals of your lifetime and stuff that you remember. Now, do you remember when James Comey was the one that was supposed to be looking into the Russia hacking the election situation in the 2016 election? That was his job. Now, do you remember he started that because he leaked some info to a friend of his from college who gave it to a Washington Post reporter? And this isn't like conspiracy theory or something I made up. He actually testified and admitted to this later. So he started the whole investigation. Do you remember what he was doing before that? James Comey was supposed to be the guy investigating Hillary Clinton and Hillary Clinton's email scandal. Now, there was something really shady that happened at the end of that whole investigation. James Comey had a press conference where he laid out chapter and verse all the times that Hillary Clinton broke the law, a few of the times she perjured herself about not breaking the law, and then came to the conclusion that he's not going to charge her with any crimes. It was a mind-blowing setup. And the Reason Foundation, Reason.com, old Reason magazine, they put together the perfect montage of back and forth between Hillary lying to your face, and some of these are in front of an investigation committee. Some of these are under oath to where lying about it counts as perjury. So not only did she not get in trouble for the email scandal and the lies around that, the perjury, not a problem. She just got exonerated by this guy. But do you know where he came before that? He was the guy who trumped up the charges against Martha Stewart and got her thrown in prison. Why? Because her name, she was a big name. It was just a trophy that he got to take down to accelerate his career. And you're like, well, what kind of scumbag would try and destroy a successful woman like Martha Stewart just for their own personal gain, just for their own career gain? Well, James Comey did it, and it worked. But here's the Reason montage between Comey and Hillary.
I did not email any classified material to anyone. There is no classified material.
110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined by the owning agency to contain classified information at the time they were sent or received.
I provided all my emails that could possibly be work-related.
Several thousand work-related emails that were not among the group of 30,000 emails returned by Secretary Clinton.
I thought using one device would be simpler.
She also used numerous mobile devices to send and to read email.
There were no security breaches.
It is possible that hostile actors gained access to Secretary Clinton's personal email account.
It was my practice to communicate with State Department and other government officials on their .gov accounts.
The hostile actors gained access to the private commercial email accounts of people with whom Secretary Clinton was in regular contact from her personal account.
No doubt that we've done exactly what we should have done.
They were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information.
People will be able to judge for themselves.
We cannot find a case that would support bringing criminal charges on these facts.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
To be clear, this is not to suggest that in similar circumstances, a person who engaged in this activity would face no consequences.
Americans will find that, interesting, and I look forward to having a discussion about that.
Wow, Reason.com, that was great. So that's this guy's timeline. Screwing over Martha Stewart over bogus charges, clearing Hillary Clinton on legit charges, and then he's immediately, for some reason, Trump kept him around in the first term, one of his great mistakes. He leaks the intel, which is illegal on its own, to the Washington Post to start the Russiagate collusion. It's the top story for the next 3 years, only to be thrown by COVID. And now we're all finding out that not only was it bogus, they knew it was bogus at the time. So all this is lies. Now, it had consequences in the real world. This is what the media sounded like from 2017 until COVID. This was the number one story 3 years in a row. The fact that not did Russia interfered with the election or they had a strong opinion of the election or they were pro-Trump or something to that effect. Russia hacked the election. The election was literally stolen by Russia.
Russia hacking the election to elect Trump is the end of our democracy. Votes were definitely affected.
But you're not,
Russia hacked the election to tilt it to Mr. Trump.
The Russians definitively hacked the election.
Russia
Not
did
true.
hack the election.
Not
No
true.
doubt. The Russians hacked the election.
Not
Yes.
true.
Russia hacked the election.
Fact,
Not
Russia
true.
hacked the election.
President-elect Donald Trump still not sounding convinced that Russia hacked the election.
The president does not want to come to terms with the fact that the Russians hacked the election.
President Trump says he still wonders if the Russians hacked the election.
If you can get him to accept that Russia hacked the election, see if you can get him to accept who won the Civil War.
If he admits it, it casts a shadow on his victory over Hillary Clinton.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Let's be clear, Russia hacked the election.
Definitively, Russia hacked the election, and Russia is doing it again now.
Election-related cyber hacking.
Cyber hacking of U.S. elections. Cyber hacking of the election.
Russia was cyber hacking the election.
Russia was cyber hacking the election.
The CIA, the FBI, NSA.
All of these intelligence organizations,
17 intelligence agencies,
all conclude that Russia hacked the election.
If we find out that Donald Trump just theoretically was colluding with Russia while they were hacking the election, that is completely impeachable.
This dossier alleged a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and the Russian effort to hack the election.
The director of national intelligence, the head of the National Security Agency, the head of the FBI, all of these intelligence experts saying Russia hacked the election.
The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the former director of national intelligence, James Clapper, I mean, they've all said this. So to believe that that's wrong, you have to believe they're all involved in an elaborate conspiracy to get Donald Trump, which seems a little far-fetched to me.
I know you think you don't like the media. You just don't hate them enough. These people, they get it so wrong because they went from that to telling you that inflation was transitory, to telling you that we needed to do all this COVID stuff. You know, we needed to do the lockdowns. Masks will work. You know, none of that turned out to be true. They told you the lab leak theory was just a conspiracy theory that was made up by crazy people and your drunk uncle on Facebook. They told you Jussie Smollett was attacked with a straight face. They told you the Olympics weren't mocking the Last Supper in their opening ceremony. Then they immediately transitioned to Biden sharp as a tack. Yeah, you know that guy, he's so sharp. My God, he's sharp. And then Abrego Garcia wasn't a gang member. Repealing net neutrality would ruin the internet. Defunding the police would reduce violence. DART would improve traffic. It's just lie after lie after lie. So when you turn it on today, just remember the same people that got all this wrong are probably getting it wrong today. The people that got it right back then, maybe you should listen to them a little bit more today. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Trump's comments on the Russia Gate updates coming up next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Happy Friday, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Your weekend starts in an hour and 54 minutes. Donald Trump was asked about the Epstein situation. I'm sorry, we already did that in the last hour. The Russia situation. Now, a lot of people are pointing fingers back at Barack Obama. Now, I am a little hesitant to do that because while all this stuff that was happening in 2016 did happen under his watch, Peter Strzok and Lisa Page and the Steele dossier and the FISA warrants and the spying on Carter Page or tapping Carter Page, all that legit happened under the Obama administration. I doubt he orchestrated this because he is in his second term. He's on his way out. He probably doesn't even really like Hillary, so I don't see him really lifting a finger or threatening his entire legacy to help this woman out with some sort of criminal activity. But it did happen under his watch, so someone needs to be going to jail, probably more the people that were actually filling out the paperwork and lying about it. But I'm not sure if Obama is going to see a courtroom, nor should he. Now, Trump was asked about that today, and he was making the point that the immunity case that he won in the Supreme Court recently, that's going to help out Obama because he can immediately turn around and point to this recent Supreme Court decision over Trump's situation and say, look, we just established that presidents can't be prosecuted for acts they did as president. So here's Trump today.
How do you think that
this is actually from this morning.
How do you think that the Supreme Court's ruling that benefited you on presidential immunity would apply to former President Barack Obama and what you're accusing him of doing?
It probably helps him a lot. The immunity ruling. But it doesn't help the people around him at all. But it probably helps him a lot. He's done criminal acts, there's no question about it. But he has immunity, and it probably helps him a lot.
All right, so that was Trump. Here was Whoopi Goldberg on the Trump-Russia hoax.
Sitting president just accused a former president of treason. Now, do people realize how serious an allegation this is? And for me, didn't the Supreme Court, under the guidance of this president, say that presidents have immunity? So that would mean that nothing Obama did, because you didn't say no, that only you have immunity. You said presidents. So this means you have no right to try to take him to court because he did what he did as president. So how does that work? Is it only you who is clear, or are they all clear? In which case, President Biden might be, kicking some new stuff up to you too. Because if you say nobody has immunity, or everybody, you have to decide which way you're going to go. A sitting president.
Anyway, relax there, Whoopi. I think he actually agrees with you on this one. Just give him a second to answer the question. Now, check out this other perspective. This is going to be a more sobering one. Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, the comic strip about all the office hijinks and office politics and culture and whatever. He's dying. He has stage 4 prostate cancer that's metastasized into his bones, much like former President Joe Biden. He expects he has a few months left, but he's still just going on Twitter and waxing eloquently about some of the issues of the day, and I just want to pay some attention to him while we still have him. And I edited down this explanation to about 2 minutes of why he thinks this is such an important story, because not just the Russia hoax, but also he's looping this in with the Very Fine People hoax, and pointing out that the very serious damage this did to divide the country, and it was all based on a lie. Remember, the top story reported in news outlets from 2017, 2018, 2019 was a story that turned out to not be true. Trump colluded with Russia to hack the election. So here's Scott Adams spelling out an interesting angle.
How many of you found out that Obama's hoaxes, which would include the Russia hoax, and it would also include the Fine People hoax. Those two hoaxes, I would argue, ruined my life, because those are the hoaxes that allowed my entire social group to say, are you kidding me? You're backing Trump? Trump's a Russian puppet, and he said that neo-Nazis are fine people. So we can't even talk to you again. you're so bad that we can't invite you anywhere. We can't be your friend, and you should just off. So this is very personal to me. What Obama did was he divided the country with these hoaxes. Because if you imagine a different history where there had never been a Russia hoax and there had never been a Fine People hoax, those were the two primary ways that people became anti-Trumpers, like really serious ones, where the TTS comes in. Now, I didn't realize that until today because my natural personality is not to complain about it. My natural personality is to say, oh, that happened. I guess I have to do this now. So do I want them in jail? Yes. Yes, I want Obama in jail for ruining my life with what looks like criminal acts to me. If you said there's a way to make some of the news hosts get handcuffed and taken to jail because they knew that they were supporting a lie, I'd be in favor of that. I don't think there's any law that would support that. But if there were, yeah, I think that some of the people who ruined my life and maybe a lot of your lives should go to jail.
That's Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert, sharing what little he has time left, little time he has left on Earth. Just waxing eloquently on the big topics of the day. Did you lose any friends? Did you lose any family? Did you have any breaking of social ties over these hoaxes? Do you automatically get those friends back when it's exposed? I have friends whose daughters won't speak with them now. You know, college-age daughters. Because dad supports literally Hitler. Well, that's all a lie, lady. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. And all this talk with Russia Gate. Let's find out how the war is actually going on with Russia next. Dr. Brodeur from Rigaku on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. And all this talk about Russiagate, I think one of the big important details that's being easily overlooked here is we're kind of at war with Russia right now. I mean, no, not technically, but when American munitions are being fired into Russian territory and killing Russian soldiers, I feel like that's a pretty big detail that needs to be kept in the context of all this Russia talk. In fact, since it's not in the headlines, I'm bringing in an expert to help clear out what you're missing. Dr. Jeff Brodeur is coming back on from Rigaku, and it's good to have an assist from you because you have expertise all across the board: chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear consulting. So welcome back to the James Show. And just for one thing, I haven't heard anything about the Russia war in about a month. What's even going on there? What's the latest? So in Moscow, they're not hitting anything of importance. They're just hitting Moscow for the headlines. So when you say they're targeting people with drones, are you talking about the drones that look like airplanes, the unmanned aerial vehicles? Are we talking about the quadcopter drones? What does that look like? When you have these little drones, are they shooting at people or are they just getting next to them and blowing themselves up? So what about these guns that you see? Like I've seen them be demonstrated around events, like music festivals and whatnot, where you can point it at a drone and take it down. Does that work in a war setting? Okay. We're talking with Dr. Jeffrey Brodeur from Rigaku. And in the situation of drone warfare, I mean, is this just a fantasy? But I think country people see that and they're like, I can get my shotgun, and this is a lot like shooting skeets. Is that fantasy? Like if I saw a drone coming at me and I had a shotgun, you think I'd be able to shoot it down just like duck hunt style? Just out of range, yeah. Well, I think we're going to be fine over here in America. We've been training for this our whole life out there. What do I not know about the Russia war that's not in the headlines? I didn't know that there was a drone hit in Moscow. Wow. Well, it's an incredible update. Thank you very much, Dr. Jeffrey Brodeur from Rigaku. How do we find your work outside of WBAP? Thank you very much. See, you didn't know that. Garrett, you didn't know the drone attack had hit Moscow. No, sure didn't. All right. Coming up next on the James Show, Trump signed a piece of legislation that would rename a national park in Texas, but should we? We'll talk about that next. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey there, happy Friday. Welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM. WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. You know, the top two stories of the day are national stories that I'm in a put up or shut up mode on. That would be the Epstein list. Ghislaine Maxwell is getting interviewed for a second day in a row by the Department of Justice, which means she's talking. The Department of Justice felt like the first day was so productive that they're continuing. That's something. I don't mean to give you false optimism. I'm still not sure we'll ever see the list, but okay, enough talking. Let me know when someone gets arrested. Same thing with the Russia situation. And then we just found out that the hot war going on between Ukraine and Russia, it's still flaring up just because it's not in the news. So there's a lot going on there. Coming up next, we're going to talk about Trump renaming a national park here in Texas. But first, Bobby in Carrollton, you're on WBAP.
Yeah. Yes. Hey, James, first-time caller. I enjoy your show very much. I just saw President has got immunity for acts done while he's in office. Does the president have immunity for treason?
Oh, that's a good question. So, no. In fact, the treason is one of the few things the Constitution specifically talks about. But the immunity comes from acts as a president. So that means not only are you president, but these are presidential in nature acts. You know, if you go sell a guy a lemon, you know, like your used car, and you tell him it's okay, and he can still come back and sue you for that. But yeah, it has to be an act that you're doing on behalf of your job as the president. It can't just be anything.
So trying to take out duly elected president, would that be considered treason?
Yeah, see, the hard part about that is you got to prove intent. And so did he know that it was a lie, or was he just fooling himself? Does he really see himself as trying to remove a duly elected president, or a guy that's trying to save democracy? Because that's sort of the same finger that gets pointed at the January 6ers. Like, these guys were trying to overthrow the government. No, they were trying to preserve the democratic system because they were protesting an election that they thought was flawed. And so that word treason turns it, because it was the Stop the Steal rally, which means these people were concerned that the democratic process hadn't been followed thoroughly and didn't get the proper result and was being sidestepped. And it was, from their point of view, an act to preserve our democracy. From the other point of view, it's treason. And so I'm really hesitant to throw that word treason around, because when you read the record of history, that's how everyone lops off the head of the king they just deposed, is they accuse him of treason. So it's a really sticky floor to walk on. And I don't know. It's just, part of me is I'm just a wuss because this has never been done before. And I don't want to be the guy that opens the Pandora's box of we got to send the previous guy's presidents to jail. But then the question becomes, well, how much are you willing to overlook so that ugly precedent doesn't get tripped? And I don't know. We might be there. What do you think, Bobby?
Well, I think, somebody has to be held accountable for the things that.
Well, define accountable. Define accountable, Bobby.
So accountable is for trying to take out a duly elected president, one of them. I think, that's good. Also, interfering with the elections. I think, to me, that's election interference on there.
Okay, but election interference or trying to take out, these are not laws on the books. What are you going to get them on? Are you going to get them on the filing the fake court documents to the FISA court? Are you going to get them on perjuring themselves when they were asked about it in investigations? Like, what's the actual crime?
So perjury would be one of them.
There you go.
They lied under oath.
Agreed.
So they can get them on that. But the fact that weaponizing, all the agencies in the government to go after one man, to me, that's treasonous enough. That's what I'm thinking.
But then we're using the government to go after their guys, so are we not doing the same lawfare thing? And I'm not saying we are. I'm just saying this is going to be the push and the pull of trying to go down this road.
Yeah. So the thing is, if there is no accountability for this, I mean, people are going to continue to do these things because, hey, just give them a slap on the wrist and, hey, go on, you're fine, like that. And I think they should have, they should take a good look on what the Constitution says about this. And what does qualify as a treason? Yeah, what does qualify as
well, see, I hate to use the word treason because they're not trying to like overthrow us and hand over control of the government to the Russians or some other foreign power. They just want to seize the control of the government for themselves, and that's pretty much the modus operandi of every politician ever. So, hey, your first call was a good one. Thank you very much, Bobby in Carrollton. Coming up next, no, we're not going to have Trayvon Martin State Park, but it's something close to it. I'll tell you about the name change coming to Texas next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, happy Friday. Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Now, stick with me on this one. I'm going to need a little bit of grace. The headline sounds okay, and it is okay. Just stick with me here. The President Trump signed 3 bills this week. One of them was for the budget cuts that included NPR and PBS. That's a good one. Yay. The next one was for disaster victims, including the Texas flooding. Yay. That's good. It's his third one. The president signed a piece of paper that renamed a Texas wildlife refuge, Anahuac National Wildlife Refuge in Texas. It's now going to be called the Jocelyn Nungaray National Wildlife Refuge. So that's the news here that we're working on. And if you don't recognize the name, that's Jocelyn Nungaray was the 12-year-old girl in Houston who last year was kidnapped, raped, and murdered by 2 illegal immigrant Venezuelans. It was a big national story for a while there, and one of the fallouts is they're going to remember her by renaming a National Wildlife Refuge. 37,000 acres. It's just across the Trinity Bay from Houston. You know, that big inlet of water that goes up to Houston from Galveston. It's just to the east of that. Now, there's a chunk that's not settled at all. It's a National Wildlife Refuge. It was called the Anahuac National Wildlife Refuge. Now it's going to be named after her. And let me tell you why I don't like this. First, this is no slight to Jocelyn Nungaray. That's a serious issue. I hope her name is never forgotten. But the problem I see is when you let government control anything, it's going to become misused, abused, used for political purposes on a long enough time scale, no matter what. And that's even naming the parks. So now that's not very much fun. Do you want to go camping at Jocelyn Nungaray Park? Is that what you want to do? And look, if that's palatable to you, let me flip it on the other side. How would you like it when the other team gets in control and they start renaming stuff? Because, you know, they love renaming things, streets and whatnot. Isn't that annoying when they do that? When they rename streets, when they rename military bases for political purposes? So what would you rather go camping in Trayvon Martin State Park? Is that where you want to go? Because we got to take the politics out of it. Well, I mean, James, well, give me an example of a non-political name. You mean like a former president? No, that's still political. You know, if you're going to let the political theater, the political machine control the naming, it's going to end up political. That's the problem. There's plenty of other Texans we can name our Texas National Wildlife Refuge out of. How about a war hero, Chris Kyle? He wasn't expressly political. You don't know his political opinions. American Sniper holds the record in American military for most sniper kills. Came home. Started a nonprofit helping veterans with PTSD. Lost his life in pursuit of that noble goal. That'd be a good guy. What if can't we name it after someone who accomplished something? Maybe he's not a Texan, but he came here and he invented something, or he innovated an industry, or became a giant business leader. How about like an Elon Musk? That'd be cool too. Or we could take this time to name it after a more transcendent figure. And stick with me here, but like a Roger Staubach. It's like, James, you're a Cowboy fan. You're just missing it because it's the middle of the summer and it's been a while since you got to see football. Stop it. Stop. I'm a little more mature than that, even though it sounds immature. Yeah, he was a great quarterback. Yeah, he won Super Bowls. Yeah, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Yeah, I was born here and I have an unreal attachment to the franchise. But he was only with the Dallas Cowboys for one short phase of his life. Before that, military hero. After that, became one of the most successful real estate magnates in DFW. And actually, last time I checked, the richest former NFL player is Roger Staubach. So he wasn't just successful. He was in the Navy, right? Oh, don't kill me if I got that wrong. I think he was in the Navy. Garrett, you don't have my back on this one? No, Roger Staubach. Anyway, not only did he have success in the military, not only did he have success in the NFL, he had such success in the business world. He's one of the richest people in Dallas, and that's a bold statement. The richest, Navy. Okay, thank you, Gary. The richest former NFL player of all time. That's a hell of an accomplishment. You know how many other guys come out And they have the same financial head start as most of the other retirees from the NFL, and he made something out of it when NFL players didn't even make that much. Right. Pretty amazing stuff. Wouldn't we be better off if we named that National Wildlife Refuge out of him? Because this is dismal. You don't want to have someone who was a child that was kidnapped and raped by an illegal immigrant. That's terrible. You know how much it stinks to walk around downtown Dallas and every 2 blocks there's some sort of memorial about how evil white people are? It's exhausting. You think this brings the country together? This helps national cohesion, or you think this drives a wedge between us? Take one of the most emotionally painful stories and calcify it into the name of a national park? We got to stop this, or you are going to be going to Trayvon State Park. You are going to be going to George Floyd National Forest. We just got to get rid of this whole idea. And then how do we do that? We'll stop letting the national government have control over the parks. James, you're against national parks? Yeah. Yeah, we can turn it over to the state, and we can preserve our wildlife, and we can preserve our untouched natural resources without the federal government getting involved. You know, usually when they expand these national forests or this monument or whatever, it's just a land grab so they can deny oil permits or mining permits or whatever. They can say, oh, we've seized this. If you want to have it unseized, then we're going to have to pass a bill, and that's going to cost a whole lot in lobbying. So no. Stop the politicization of everything, including our national parks. Please, for the love of God. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up next on The James Show. There's another adultery scandal. It's a local Texas state rep. Could end his political career. But should it? 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey there. Happy Friday, fellow Texans. It's the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. So good to see you. The countdown to your weekend. We're down to 55 minutes. Then we can all go party for this weekend. Come back on Monday and do it again. In this current segment here, we have a story that I'm going to tiptoe around, and I don't want you to think I'm being a coward here. There's a little bit of method to my madness, but if you want to go find it, it's out there, and it was Texas' worst kept secret for an entire week. Some of us in the media had to sit here and pretend like we didn't know. Another state senator got busted in a cheating scandal. This time it's with some stripper from, I think it was Fort Worth. And I don't know, I think they have a love child and everything. And I'm not going to say his name, not because I don't think he deserves to be aired out, but there's already lawsuits that are being threatened and flying and stuff. And it's not really important to the point of the story because should it matter? Should it matter if your state rep has an affair on his wife? 800-288-9227, because I don't think it should. Go ahead and argue with me. I'll be fine. I can see both sides of this because, if he can't be trusted to not cheat on his own wife, how do we know he's not cheating on his constituents or whatever? But I try and think of the scenario to where you have a guy who actually has your policy preferences at heart. A guy who wants to go cut the budget, a guy who wants to give you school choice, a guy who wants to lower your property taxes, if not get rid of them altogether. A guy that wants to cut all these dumb social programs. No, we don't need to be paying for rural broadband. No, we don't need to be paying for summertime lunch and dinner for kids who are out of school. No. So if there's that guy, but he cheats on his wife, wouldn't he be a better state rep than the guy who is faithful to his wife and goes down and gives you the session that you just got? Oh, yeah, let's go spend $500 million in Texas taxpayer money on Hollywood. Yeah, here's what we need to do. We need to ban THC. Who's asking for that? So it has always been my contention that the guy who shares your beliefs and will actually act upon them and vote that way should be the guy you vote for, whether or not he cheats on his wife. I also use the backstop for so much of my odd thinking. And I don't think it's odd. I just say that because I look at surveys and I see what most people out there believe. And when most people don't agree with me, I will admit I'm odd. That's what odd is. I'm not normalized. But I like to use the Founding Fathers as a good backstop. Did anyone care about the sexual peccadillos of Ben Franklin? No. Well, thank God we didn't. Because I see a lot of that in his life story. He was a guy who went and was fond of the working lady. And I don't mean the seamstress. I mean the oldest profession in the books. And he was having so much fun just running through all the working ladies of Philadelphia that he knocked one up. When the baby was born, he paid her to go away. Then he married an ugly woman as a formality so someone could raise his kid. She agreed to it in exchange from having an upper class, new money lifestyle that Ben Franklin could afford because he was the most successful printer in Pennsylvania. And then he had 7 different newspapers for a while, and he had a lot of business stuff going. He was an inventor with the Franklin stove. He had a lot going on. And so he was one of these guys. He's one of these high-flying polyglots, meaning he's good at different industries. You know how Elon Musk can make rockets and electric cars and robots now that can dance and PayPal and all this other stuff? That's what Ben Franklin was like. And so thank goodness we didn't throw Ben Franklin overboard at the Tea Party, pun intended. Thank goodness we didn't care that he continued his dumb decisions with promiscuity when he was speaking on our behalf as an ambassador to England. Thank goodness we overlooked that when it was Ben Franklin. Now, I'm not saying the guy that's in trouble here over his districts in Fort Worth-ish. I'm not saying he's to the level of Ben Franklin. In fact, he's on the rhino list. Brian Harrison, the state rep out of Midlothian, and I made a list of all the rhinos who went down and voted for Justin Burrows with the Democrats. There's 32 of them. We have the map. We have the district. He's one of them. I would like to see him out. But I would like to see him kicked out by the voters because they understand that this guy didn't go down and vote the way they wanted to. I don't care how many strippers he knocked up. If he was down there trying to balance the budget, trying to cut the size of government, trying to give you school choice, trying to give you lower property taxes, I'd be advocating you should overlook this. Now, it just so happens to coincide. This is a guy I wish would lose his seat anyway. But there's something about this that bothers me. Should we be really running these politicians out of town because they cheated? Does it matter that it was with a stripper? Does that make it worse? Does it matter that there was possibly an out-of-wedlock birth? Look, if you want the whole answer, right now it's on currentrevolt.com. Tony Ortiz got the exclusive. Bunch of other people are waiting for the lawyers to clear it before they double up on the reporting here. So if you haven't seen it already, it'll probably be a big story tomorrow or over the weekend sometime. But should it be? Should we care? I don't think we should. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. And look, I know you don't think this, but there's guys right now that are texting me or emailing me, and they're like, is she hot? Or they went to Current Revolt and they looked there and they're like, wow, she's hot. Yeah, she's hot. No, that doesn't matter. This stuff shouldn't matter. What, if she was a swamp donkey, then you would want him kicked out of office? What are you people even saying? Man, when we get into weird emotional topics like this, people throw logic out the window, in my view. This is Tony in Granbury. You're on WBAP.
Hey, sir. Yeah, it's just a real simple concept. If he can't keep his oath to his wife, how can we trust him to keep his oath to the people? And from what you're saying about his voting record, it sounds like he's already failed that one too.
Well, yeah, but that's a good reason to kick him out. However, would America have been better off if we had kicked out Dr. Ben Franklin, based on his, untrustworthiness as a sexual partner?
I'll be honest, I don't know. Was he married?
Well, later he was, when he married the ugly girl, he continued sleeping with hookers, there was a lot of consensual affairs too. He tried to sleep with some of his friends' wives. He was a randy fella. He was a pretty zesty guy, and we didn't hold that against him. And I think all of America benefited from his wisdom at the Constitutional Convention and the Declaration of Independence.
Well, I'm a zero tolerance person when it comes to cheating.
No, Tony, you would have, if we got you in the time machine and we kicked you back to 1789 or whenever the Constitution, 1787 or 1776, when the Declaration was being put together, you would have kicked Ben Franklin out, knowing what you know.
He was cheating on a spouse, yes.
Wow, that's a bold statement. All right, well, you got to say it on the James Show. Thank you very much, Tony.
All right.
He would have kicked out Ben Franklin. That's how important it is to him. Now, Tony gets points for consistency because a lot of people who want to kick this guy out, I don't think they'd be so quick to jettison Ben Franklin. But Tony gets points for consistency there. Should it matter if the state rep from Fort Worth knocked up some stripper and been cheating on his wife for the last whatever years? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. 9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Well, hey there. Welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. All right. My next guest shouldn't be an amazing story, but it's kind of an amazing story considering what else is going on in 2025. He's the mayor of Keller. His name's Armin Mizani, and he made news for something that doesn't sound controversial, but I guess it is. He was cooperating with ICE. Oh, my goodness. Cooperating with ICE. Call the TV station. This is newsworthy. Armin Mizani, welcome to the James Show. Okay, so I thought most mayors, aside from a handful of butthead sanctuary cities, cooperated with ICE. But I learned in your story that Keller is the largest town in Texas that is fully cooperating with ICE. Is there something I'm missing here? Okay, explain this. Explain this, because I feel like there's some conditions on this. What do they mean by fully cooperating? And then there's this program that gets mentioned, and we don't know what that is. Okay, so I feel incredibly naive. I would think most cities would be doing this. Why aren't all cities? I understand some of them are going to be sanctuary cities and they're going to thwart the rule of law, but I didn't know this. It was so voluntary. Okay, well, that sounds all positive. This is Armin Mizani, mayor of Keller. What's the real excuse why these other cities don't do it? Because they can't come out and say, well, we would like for criminals to get away with their crimes. Did they say it's expensive? Do they say they don't have the resources to do it? Like, what's the outwardly excuse? All right, Armin Mazzani. We're not saying the guy's name. I don't know if you heard the last segment here, but we were talking about some specific guy who's not going to be running again. He's resigning from the Texas State Legislature because he's caught up in an extramarital affair. And just by coincidence of all coincidences, I promise I didn't plan it this way. After your tenure as mayor of Keller, you're now running for the House of Representatives in this same guy's district as the possible replacement. Without saying his name, your thoughts on that story? Is this new to you, or was this just a Texas worst kept secret? All right, this is the mayor of Keller, Armin Mazzani, and I like what I see on the ICE cooperation front, but if you don't go down there and give me school choice and property tax cuts, we'll be primarying you out again if you get in, Armin. Thank you for being on the James Show. All right. Coming up next, name that artist. Do you want to get a pair of tickets to go see Collective Soul live in Our Lady Peace on August 13th? And do you know these 10 artists? All right, if you know those 10 artists or something close to it, and you want 2 tickets to see Collective Soul live in Our Lady Peace, call right now for Name That Artist. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. Damn Bongino. Welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. We're just in time for Name That Artist, and we got a great pair of tickets to give away today. It's 2 tickets to see Collective Soul and Live and Our Lady Peace. Those 3 awesome bands from the 90s are going to be together at their Summer Unity Tour at the Pavilion at Toyota Music Factory on August 13th. For the rest of us, we can go get our tickets whenever we want at livenation.com, but I got to give away a pair to someone, and the lines are full, so don't even bother calling. And then on Name That Artist. Now listen, all you people over on hold, hey, listen up. You focused? You paying attention? I don't think they're all paying attention. I know how to get their attention. Here, this will... Oh, yeah, now you're paying attention. Listen, get out a notepad file on your phone or a piece of paper and a pen or something. We're going to play the montage again. So when I go to you on the phone and I say Brian in Plano or Robert in Arlington, or I think I'm supposed to start with Val in Burleson. When I go to you, you can just rattle them all off, or you can say, I only know 4 of them or I only know 6 of them. Okay? So you ready? And for those of you playing at home, just try and see if you can clock these, and I'll give you the answers afterwards. This is today's montage. All right, that's today's montage. Bruce made it. I only got 5. How many can you get? We will start with Val in Burleson. You're on Name That Artist. How many do you think you got? All 10?
I got 8, 100%.
Oh, you got 100%. All right, well, let's hear it.
8 for sure. 8 for sure.
All right, well, let's hear it. If you got 100%, you might just win it straight up. Ready, go.
Okay, the first one would be Huey Lewis. The second one is Styx. The third one is a shaky one. It might be Motley Crue.
Well, we'll just stop you there. Go ahead.
Okay. 4, Ozzy Osbourne solo.
Okay.
Number 5, it's Peter Frampton.
You skipped one.
No. Huey Lewis, Styx, Motley Crue, Ozzy Osbourne. Right?
And then there's another one before Peter Frampton.
Okay. That one, let's skip that one for now. That's the only shaky one I got. Okay, right. So then we got Peter Frampton.
Well, look, if you keep going, you risk giving away the ones that other people don't have. How confident do you feel about the rest of them?
100%.
Okay, so he's got 9. Anybody got 10? Let's try. Robert, you got 10?
I have 9.
All right, Robert in Arlington. Hang on a second. That would mean you're tied. Kevin in Dallas, do you have all 10?
I have all 10.
All right, let's hear it, Kevin. Ready to go.
All right. Huey Lewis, Styx, Journey.
What? Stop.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Stop. No.
You have to have it in order?
Yeah, well, that helps.
Well, I've got it in order.
Do it again. Well, Huey Lewis, Styx. What was the third one?
Okay, Huey Lewis, Styx. Third was Foreigner.
Oh, no.
Oh, sorry. Third was Motley Crue. Got it. Motley Crue.
Okay, keep going.
4 was Ozzy. 5 was Journey.
No. Journey's in there, but it's not number 5.
Then James Brown. Or, sorry, Jackson Brown.
Look at you. Okay. And then number 6?
Number 6, Peter Frampton.
Okay.
Number 7, Journey. Number 8, Motley Crue. Or sorry. 8 is Van Halen.
Well, that's 9. Who was before Van Halen?
Was Foreigner.
It was Foreigner. What's the last one?
Last one is Van Halen.
No, Van Halen was the 9th one. There's one more after Van Halen.
Okay. Then that was. That was James Brown.
No, Jackson Brown was number 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. God, I keep getting them in there. Damn.
It's the most dyslexic man in the world.
God, it is.
It's the only one you hadn't named
Fleetwood
yet.
Mac.
Huh?
Fleetwood Mac.
Oh. Oh my God. Are you married, Kevin?
Yes, I am.
Oh man, your wife must be an angel. Oh man, your brain's all over the place. All right, you just won 2 tickets to see Collective Soul and live with Our Lady Peace. They're going to be at Toyota Music Factory August 13th. You want to go ahead and claim these tickets or pass them along to someone else? Is this a show you're going to go to?
Absolutely, I do.
All right, that's what I like to hear. All right, well, you earned them. You definitely earned them. Congratulations, Kevin in Dallas. You're today's big winner on Name That Artist. I'm putting you on hold. One of the Garretts will get your information. We'll email you the tickets because that's what we do in 2025. We're going to end the show in the next segment with today's episode of What the Heck Did Jasmine Crockett Say This Time? I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, hey there. Welcome to the James Show. Happy Friday. It's News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Your weekend, a mere 11 and a half minutes away. Let's have some fun in the little time that you and I have left before you go away. Let's have a little fun with today's episode of What the Heck Did Jasmine Crockett Say This Time?
Jasmine Crockett, queen of the liberal tea.
Bleach blonde, bad built butch body.
Governor Hot Wheels, and he is a hot ass mess, honey.
Queen of the liberal tea.
All right, so Jasmine Crockett today is building on her criticism of the redistricting plan for the state of Texas. I feel a little sympathy toward her criticism here. However, my criticism of the redistricting plan is that you're supposed to do this on the zeros. You're not supposed to do it in the middle of the decade. You're supposed to do it whenever there's a new census. That's when you do reapportionment. And so we know what you're trying to do here. You're trying to gerrymander districts to make them more solid red and blue. Both sides do this in every state where they have control. The only states that don't really have to worry about gerrymandering are the ones that are completely one-party states. But for the most part, most states do this. It's the most normal thing in the world. But the excuse for it this time is it's BS, and you're all just a bunch of losers, apparently.
You know, I'm here with Jasmine Crockett, the Jasmine Crockett. You know, I'm glad to see you.
I'm here with the Elizabeth Booker.
We're sweaty. We're tired.
We are.
What's going on with the redistricting? Because I heard they're trying to mess with your state and your seat, potentially your seat or other people's seats.
It's a bunch of bullshit. But hey, this is what we know the Republicans are good at. If there's one thing they're good at cheating, and they're good at right? So that's exactly what we're going through right now.
Some of them are pretty good at cheating, apparently. She's right on that. See what I did there? Because the guy that's having the extramarital affair, and he's a Republican.
They have decided that they are losers, and we understand why. And so with these loser policies, they have a loser mentality. So they have decided that if you can't win, cheat.
Yeah,
that's where we are.
I got to talk to Beto at work yesterday, and that's what he said. Boy, when the white boy is calling y'all sore losers, then I know we got a problem. Yeah.
Now, when even the white guy says you're weak, it's because white people are stupid. Racism's still hilarious when it's against white people. Anyway, we continue.
Even he said, yeah, they're just cheating. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's because they know they can't win on policies because all of this stuff is unpopular that they've been doing.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely right. And one of the things that I laid out earlier today was the numbers. So right now, Texas is already a gerrymander state. In fact, you can probably look at any Republican-led state and know that most likely it is actually already gerrymandered. It's only the Democrats that are always trying to be fair and do the right thing. And so it's the Democratic states that aren't gerrymandered. But check this out. So Trump won the state by a little over 50% when he just ran this last time, okay? So technically, our delegation that has 38 members should maybe be just a little bit over 50% represented by Republicans. And so when you divide 38, that comes out to like 19. So maybe Republicans get 20, 21 seats if we're talking about being fair and being reflective of who the people in Texas are. But instead, Republicans have well over 60% of the seats already. And what they're trying to take it up to now is 79% of the seats they think should belong to Republicans. And the only way that you can do that is by diluting the voices and the will of people of color, because people of color seemingly have an issue with the white supremacy agenda.
Oh, it's shocking.
White supremacy, of course.
I like how you gave all those numbers. You know George W. Bush should have left them babies behind. They don't know the numbers. They don't know that.
Yeah, you idiot Trump voters. Y'all don't know how numbers work. Just leave them behind. Y'all are a bunch of idiots. That'll win over the voters. Good call there. But yes, they did it because they're idiots and losers. They're losers. Out of the 38 seats, they have 25 of them. You're on the losing side here in this state, number one. Number two, every state gerrymanders. I wish they didn't, but don't act like this is something that's endemic here. And they do it not to dilute the votes of Team Blue voters, but they do it to more densely concentrate their voters. That way, if they can just group as many as possible into 4 different seats, maybe 5 different seats, the Republicans will run the table with the rest of them. I mean, other than that, though, I am kind of suspicious of them doing it in the middle of the decade, but it's not because they're raging white supremacists with this white supremacist agenda that is so tiring. And y'all can stop sending me the AI commercial where George Floyd, it's again AI, so it's not real, is hawking some new drug called Comply. But it is funny because it looks like he's saying this. You don't know what his voice sounds like, but it starts off with that picture that we've all seen, the ones they make murals out of, where it has like the brick wall behind his head. Check this out. This is AI George Floyd now hawking a new pharmaceutical.
A few years ago, I couldn't breathe. But then I started taking this, Comply. Now I breathe just fine.
Side effects of Comply may include dizziness, obedience, improved breathing during police encounters, and sudden respect for authority. Do not resist while taking Comply. Ask your officer if Comply is right for you.
Okay. Yikes. It's not too soon. Dude, that was like 5 years ago. It's not too soon. Everyone relax. All right, that's going to about do it for the James Show this week. Remember, while you're out this weekend, having fun, doing whatever, if you need more James Show in the meantime, between now and 2 o'clock on Monday, the podcast is always out there. We have a lot of great videos that are on different social media platforms. So you can not only get some of the highlights, you can also judge me based on my appearance. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. I got some stuff floating around on Rumble and Twitch. And wherever you're at, come find us. A lot of good stuff on X as well. And do me a favor, tell someone new about the James Show. I need to grow this thing and keep this job, and you can help me out with that. In the meantime, stick around. Mark Levin's coming up next. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP.